Seminary, Africa's premier seminary school, has seen a century rather of service to God and humanity, molding generations of priests and lay captains of industry. What's the history behind this century-long journey, powered by the benevolence of an amiable philanthropic lady, Jean Bigard? Then who is Jean Bigard, and how did Bigard Memorial Seminary stand the test of time and trials of many seasons to emerge as a center of excellence in the formation of men? And what is on offer as the drums roll out for the Centenary celebrations? This is the Eastern Eye. I am Alex Obodo. Welcome to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV. It's a program that X-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. Joining me tonight is the rector of Bigard Memorial Seminary, Very Reverend Father Dr. Albert Ikbenwa. He is joined tonight by Reverend Father Dr. Kevin Udenwago, Chairman, Bigard Centenary Planning Committee. Thank you so much, Father Ikbenwa and Father Udenwago, for joining me tonight on the Eastern Eye.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right. Yes, I'll start with you, Reverend Father Dr. Ikbenwa. Bigard Memorial Seminary. For a lot of people in Enugu, they just think it's just a place they train priests. Tell us about Bigard. How did it all start? Of course, a lot of people might know some things about Bigard, but what is Bigard Memorial Seminary? How did it all start?
Oh, thank you, Alex, for the question. Bigard Memorial Seminary began 100 years ago at a place called Ibariam. Actually, prior to the establishment of the seminary, the Pope Benedict XV gave a letter directed to all the mission land, all the priests working in the mission land, and in 1919 to start training indigenous priests that will take over the mission work in their respective countries where they were working. So this letter was directed to all missionary land, all those places that the missionaries were working. And then the person who was in charge of the eastern region that time, Shanahan, Father Joseph Shanahan, then took this letter seriously and they made fit to establish a seminary to train indigenous priests. And then in 1922, the preparation for this seminary started in Onitsha. Then, because of this situation in Onitsha, because of, Onitsha is a little bit very noisy and busy, so they decided then to take this seminary to a remote area called Ibariam. So the seminary began in Ibariam. It was inaugurated. By that time, he was then the bishop of Onitsha Ecclesiastical Province. And then he became the pioneer founder of Bigard Memorial Seminary. By that time, Bigard was called St. Paul Seminary, and from there, at Ibariam, it took root. And then from there, in 1929, Ibariam, the Bigard Seminary had to move back to Onitsha because of the situation that was prevalent in Ibariam. There was serious health challenges the seminarians were facing that time. Mosquito, it was just a remote area, riverine remote area, mosquito, and then other hostilities. So the seminary at that time, called St. Paul Seminary, was moved back to Onitsha. But then, because of the situation in Onitsha again, in 1939, it was then moved to Eke, because Eke became a little bit, and it was an outpost of the missionary at that time, and the Onyama of Eke, very well-known figure, the traditional ruler at that time, invited the missionary to Eke, and because of his generosity, the missionary then took their hold or their stand in Eke at that time, and the seminary was moved to Eke in order to to nurture the priests, the young priests or young seminarians at that time. So from 1932, the seminary was in Eke, but then it has to move again from Eke after a few years because Eke it was difficult because of lack of water and lack of other amenities in Eke, and it was moved to Holy Ghost Cathedral, present Holy Ghost Cathedral in 1939. And he stayed in Holy Ghost Cathedral in 1939 from 1939 to 1942. 42, he had to move again. So it's a very long journey. He moved to Obala. Obala, now in the present Imo State. And the missionary also, they found the very good land in Obala. And then there they established the seminary at that point in time. But then, in the late 40s, the propaganda feed, in charge of propagation of faith in all the parts of the world, they decided to build two seminaries in Nigeria, to fund two seminaries in Nigeria, one in western Nigeria and then one in eastern Nigeria. And the Archbishop then looked for a viable place to locate this seminary that would be funded by propaganda FIDE. And Enugu became a good choice. Enugu was the capital of eastern Nigeria, and the facilities were already more promising in Enugu. And then, so the seminary was moved from Obala, and the building started in 1948. Then in 1951, we moved to the present site in Enugu, and then it was renamed Bigard Memorial Seminary, Enugu. And this was because of the funding and then the support received from an organization called Opera Santo Petro. It's the work of St. Peter, and it was founded by a person called Jeanne Bigard, a French lady who decided to give up everything she had in order to support the training of priests in many missionary lands. Her mother supported her. They came from a very well-to-do family, but it was not just their wealth that committed. They started also looking for people to support them in this mission of helping to support the training of priests in missionary mission land. And that was the foundation that then funded the building of the infrastructure at Enugu, the permanent site. And the bishops, at that point in time, after considering the work of this lady or these ladies, decided to name the institution Bigard Memorial Seminary to honor the work of these two French ladies. The mother is Stephanie, and then the daughter who started the whole thing named Jean Bigard. And they tried to respect honor this foundation by naming the institution Bigard Memorial Seminary, Enugu. And that's where we are.
Great. All right. Thank you so much for taking your time and taking us through all the, if you like, you can say the vicissitudes of the Bigard Memorial Seminary. We'll come to how the Bigard Memorial Seminary survived some of the toughest moments in Nigerian history. But we'll need to get into the issue of the centenary celebration, and we'll find out what it's about, what to expect, and the persons that we expect to make an appearance. And for that, I'll call on Reverend Father Dr. Kevin Udewago to tell us exactly what will be happening and when will that celebration start.
Thank you, Alex, for this interesting question. The centenary celebration will begin exactly on the 10th of November, that is 2 days from now. It will begin with an inaugural mass because this is an exceptional reunion. An exceptional reunion in the sense that it's going to feature a number of past students who studied in Bigard for the past 100 years. You were not born then. I don't even know if your mother was born. So for the past 100 years. So it's going to be a reunion of all these bishops, cardinals, lay professionals scattered all over the universe. So it will begin on Sunday with an inaugural mass, which will be presided over by the Metropolitan of Onitsha Ecclesiastical Province, His Grace, Most Reverend Valerian Okeke. After the mass, he will proceed to bless the Centenary Hostel. That hostel will accommodate about 100 or more seminarians because it has 51 rooms, self-contained. It only takes a courageous man to do what our rector did.
Yeah, that's some of the pictures there.
Yes, if you look at this, yeah.
Remember, we took a tour some days ago.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Wow.
So, takes a courageous man. That is military courage, military virtue, which is courage. Because remember what is happening in the society today, people barely feed, yet he had to commit himself to see that we have this mighty edifice. So the Archbishop will bless it. After the blessings, then we will proceed to the Centenary Arena, where we will have an inauguration of the academic year, where students who will emerge as exceptional or bright students will have their prizes, and also students who will emerge as best behaved, because at the end of their study in Bigard after graduation, we issue them with certificates. And when we issue certificates, we say we are issuing this certificate based on character and learning. Not just learning, because a priest has to fly on two wings, academics and spiritual. That's what it is. So, in the evening of that day, there will be a football match between a sister seminary and Bigard. Blessed the one major seminary, Onitsha. Because, in short, they're not a sister seminary, daughter seminary. Yeah. Because we were there before them, so that's right. Their daughter seminary. So they are preparing, there we come. Then on Monday, we are going to have Cultural Day 1 that will feature various cultural activities, dance, drama, and the rest of them. This is to show you the dynamism of the constituents of Bigard Memorial Seminary in Enugu. The students are drawn from various parts of Igbo land and even beyond, because we have students from Katsina, Ala, diocese. So this dynamism, these divergent cultures, is a short step onto friendship, enabling the students to mingle with one another. After Monday, on Tuesday, we have Bible quiz that will feature 10 secondary schools within Enugu Metropolis. We are inviting these young children so that they imbibe the correct teachings. The Catholic Bishop of Enugu, when he was installed as the bishop of this Enugu diocese, wrote his first pastoral letter, the Lenten Pastoral, and he entitled it Back to the Roots. Because our people are now deviating, we must get back to the roots. That's why we want to catch these young ones. We want to catch them young by teaching them the basics, the foundation, the scriptures. Then on the 13th to 15th, we have the symposium. The first day of the symposium, the second day, and the third day. These features, we have invited intellectuals from every part of Igbo land and beyond too, from different academic fields. Philosophers, theologians, anthropologists, even info technicians that are coming to speak to the students, because this is to prepare them to face the challenges of their time. If we don't prepare them, they will be timid, facing what they have to face tomorrow. So that's the reason for this. So after the symposium, then we have cultural days again, featuring music festivals. This one will interest you, Alex.
Absolutely.
Because you're a good singer.
Wow.
So the first day of the singing festival will feature Bigard Memorial Seminary Choir, the one you have heard of. Yeah. You are invited.
I've heard of them, but I haven't seen them sing. So maybe that would be a good time for me to.
Are we inviting him?
Yes, we are inviting him.
Yes. So you are invited because Bigard Choir will feature. And it may interest you to know that we have a renowned composer, Basti Lokeke.
Absolutely, I know about him.
You've heard about him.
Yeah.
So he's one of the directors of music in Bigard.
The very, very classic song, Ejino Inye Chineke Menga.
Ah, yes.
Good.
Yeah.
So that you know that I know.
Thank you so much. You are up to date. So the second day of the music festival will feature choirs from different parishes in Enugu. They're not coming to challenge Bigard students. They're just coming to show us that they have learned a lot from us because Bigard is the mother. It's the citadel of learning, and we cannot but give the best. So after the music festival, then we have on the 17th, theater group that we perform to in the evening, featuring Olarotmi, The Gods Are Not to Blame. Today we blame the gods for our problems in Nigeria. What of ourselves? When you blame the gods, you cannot meet up with the challenges of the time. But when you blame yourself, you are able to redefine yourself and make amendments. So on the 18th, we have the cultural day too. Here we have invited sister and daughter seminaries to come and showcase that for which they are known to. It will be a kind of challenge because when you showcase what you have, you see reason to improve in one way or the other, where you are weak. Then on the 19th, that will be an alumni day. We're going to have football match between priests of Onitsha Ecclesiastical Province versus Owerri Province. When they come, if you have ever touched the football booths, come and prove yourself. But I don't know if you have entered the pitch at all. Father Rector was a captain when he was in the seminary.
Every man will speak for himself.
So, after that, in the evening, we will have our famous dance, Ojinaka Tobo. Priests will perform this dance because they did that when they were training in the seminary. In the early days, when we were young, the vice rector too used to dance, and other priests. Myself, I'm a good dancer. That day we present ourselves in the field, and we will dance. That will show a kind of cohesion among priests. That's
right.
So, we are going to invite also another alumnus of Bigard, the famous Janka Ogene. He's a product of Bigard. He will be coming to display. A number of people don't know that he studied in Bigard. He was a seminarian. So on the 20th, there will be alumni day too, when we are inviting other dignitaries, like the Papal Nuncio to Nigeria, Michael Crotty, who is going to perform the planting of the Centenary tree. It's going to be remarkable. And then there will also be a kind of show, Bigard documentary film, featuring all the events that have happened in Bigard for the past 100 years, to show you how serious we are in taking our things, our affairs.
I'm only scratching my head for that documentary film.
Please do. Then on the last day, the D-Day, the 21st, when we shall have ordination of 40 candidates onto diaconate. That is to show you that the church in Nigeria is growing. The church in Igbo land is growing. And our prayer is that we have beckoned on the people of God to pray for these candidates. We are praying for them too. At this moment, in a few days from now, they will enter into retreat, where they will prepare themselves spiritually in order to come forth, edified and stronger to face the challenges of the diaconate ministry. I think these are the features.
Great. We'll come back to refresh our memories on the events, but I need to go back now to Father Rector. I like the way you refer to him. Maybe I have to refer to him like that, so that we'll cut it short, instead of saying his name.
Okay.
So Father Rector, obviously, 1967 to 1970 was a very turbulent period for anyone that was on the eastern flank of Nigeria. So try and talk us through how the Bigard Memorial Seminary managed to survive this particular difficult 3 years.
Yes, 1967 to 1970 was really a very difficult period for everybody, especially in the eastern region. So in 1967, when Enugu fell, so the authorities that time, they had to move Bigard Memorial Seminary away, to move the seminarians away from Hansway. So the seminary was moved to a place called Afan Obong in present-day Akwa Ibom State, near Ikote Bene. So the seminarians were quartered there, and when that place became very difficult, you know, the war front started approaching and things were going tipsy-topsy. The authorities that time had to move the seminary again to a place called Awomama. Awomama. Stayed in Awomama for some time, and then it was also moved to Amimo. Depending on the situation, the war front or the situation, the progress of the war and all that. So it was only in 1970 when every hostility ceased that the seminary was brought back to Enugu. But then, when the seminary was brought back to Enugu, the seminary faced another big challenge. The federal government of Nigeria, at the end of the war, expelled the missionaries working especially in the eastern region, because they believed that the missionaries helped to sustain the people of Biafra. Some of you who are watching us today must have heard of Caritas. They were the people that really fought the hunger that was imposed by the then administration on the people of this area, that we are flying in, even at night, goods, foodstuff from Europe, flying them in to this eastern Nigeria to help to stop the suffering and the hunger and the kwashiorkor that was prevalent at that time. So these white men and then this missionary did a very good service to the people of Southeast, but unfortunately they were blacklisted at the end of the war, and they were sent back to their places. Most of them came from Ireland. So, and they were the professors that we had in Bigard Memorial Seminary. So it was a very big challenge. How would the Bigard Memorial Seminary go forward? So the bishops, led by the now Cardinal Francis Arinze, sat down and then were able to galvanize from those that have been trained by Bigard Seminary, the priests, indigenous priests, to bring them together, those who have studied in one field or another, to bring them together, and then they became the professors, took over from the white man. This group of priests, it was led by Monsignor Obonna, who became the first indigenous rector of Bigard Memorial Seminary, Enugu. And it was really a tough time for them to prepare the curriculum and then to step into the big shoes led by the white men. But they were able to prove themselves. And it is because of the foundation they laid that some of us are now part of that formation team. And from 1970 to date, Bigard has had indigenous priests as rectors, as formators, as professors, and they have been able to build on what the white men left, and have been able to make the seminary what it is today. So it was a very difficult challenge that the Bigard had during the Nigerian Civil War.
Okay. All right, I mean, one must have, I'm just trying to imagine how they were moving the seminarians around, and I'm sure in some cases they moved them to buildings that were not quite ready for the purposes that will serve their interest at that time. I mean, but were there priests who were ordained during the war?
Yes, some priests were ordained during the war, because the seminary continued, even in that difficult situation, the seminary continued. But the seminarians were very few, just a handful of seminarians here and there. So even during the war, priests were ordained. And I must also point out that the relief materials that were brought by the Western countries, the seminarians took part in the distribution of these relief materials. I remember someone like Bishop Emeritus of Fonsoga, Bishop Okobo, told stories of how he, by that time he was already a priest, so how he also helped with seminarians that were working with him to distribute relief materials. So the seminarians were already also put into good use during that period, that they helped in the distribution of relief materials that were coming to help alleviate the hunger that was ravaging the eastern Nigeria.
All right. I mean, the stories about the war gets one to feel a certain way. Fadu Dewago, the Bigard Memorial Seminary has been a place where a lot of people have been molded, and in addition to being the chairman of the planning committee, I think you also hold a very prominent position in Bigard, isn't it?
Yes, I'm the vice director one.
Okay, great. So when you look at what has happened, because a lot of people will look at Bigard and think, it's just to go there and train the priest and then they become reverend fathers. But not everyone that enters Bigard end up as reverend fathers. But obviously that's not the intention. The intention is for all of them to become reverend fathers. Is it also part of the intention for some of them not to become reverend fathers?
It's an implied intention. It's an implied intention because the training given to them in the seminary is basically to make them good citizens, good men, not just good priests. You might find a priest who is not doing so well, but a good man can function as a priest if he is ordained, if he goes through the processes. So when one is prepared very well, he will be able to adapt in any part of the globe, in any profession. That is why some, after they have obtained their first degree, opt to leave the seminary. When they leave, you find them so happy outside. We have one like Professor Fidelis Okafor, who was the erstwhile Vice Chancellor for the Mogwejuku University. He is a product of Bigard. We have Professor Anowo, who was the president of BIMSA, Bigard Memorial Seminary Alumni Association. We have also Professor Ome. Not just professors. We have this Obinna, alias Janka Ogene, who is also a kind of...
He's a musician.
Yeah, a musician. So he's a product of Bigard, and the host of them. So when they imbibe the integral formation given to them, it carries them beyond the four walls of the seminary. And that is why they have no regrets, especially those of them who voluntarily said, this is not my line. I have to quit because I cannot carry the cross involved in the priestly formation. When they leave, good. There are also those who are willing to get ordained, but because of the accidents of life, in one way or the other, they do not measure up with the training. The seminary assists them, advising them through their bishops to find another vocation. No one is expelled from the seminary. Not at all. We don't use that word. We don't expel anybody. You are advised to try another vocation where you will fit in very well. And when they go out, you see them fitting in so well and they are happy. And that is the object of life, happiness.
Absolutely. We will take a break here on the Eastern Eye. When we return, we'll find out the big names in Christendom that have passed through the four walls. That is, if their walls are just four, of Bigard Memorial Seminary. Join us after the break.
What are your thoughts on the spate of sex for grades in Nigerian universities?
This very issue of owing salary should be criminalized.
How can they amplify their voices?
People don't have evidence. You want to get to know about it? Have to stay tuned right here on Afia Morning Show to get the pulse and the feel of that.
greatest and most amazing show on here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break.
You don't sing alone.
I did sing for real.
You're not a backup singer.
That's what they do for it.
Hey ladies.
This is the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV. It's a program that X-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. I still have here with me a very Reverend Father Dr. Albert Ikbenwa, the rector of Bigard Memorial Seminary, and Reverend Father Dr. Kevin Udewagu, the chairman planning committee of the Bigard Centenary planning committee. She is also the rector, vice rector one. That's how we put it.
Yes.
Vice Rector 1. All right. So let me get back to you, Father Ikbenwa, or I should say Father Rector. I'm sure that just like Father Dewago has explained, that there are those outside priesthood that have passed through the Bigard Memorial Seminary. I'm sure that there will be a roll call of great men who continued onto the path where it is intended that people who graduate from Bigard, they become priests and maybe move up. It's not like politics where you run for office, but if it pleases the Pope,
yes,
you can become even the Pope, isn't it?
Yes,
so talk us through some of the great men that have really passed through that Memorial Seminary that have made it right to the top. I think Cardinal is where you get to, and then I'm sure you have quite a roll call.
Yes, we do. We do. In the 100 years of her existence, we are proud to associate ourselves with Bigard Memorial Seminary, and we are proud to tell the whole world that Bigard has produced eminent personalities in the church. Just like Alex said, we begin from the cardinals. So this is the only seminary in Nigeria that has produced 4 cardinals. 4 cardinals. We start with Francis Cardinal Rinze. Then we have Cardinal Tumi of the Cameroon, because Cameroonians also studied here in Bigard. We have quite a long list of Cameroonian, even bishops. Many of them are bishops today. And then we have Cardinal Ekanem. Cardinal Ekanem, until his death, he was in charge of Abuja Archdiocese. Then we have the newest Cardinal, Peter Cardinal Obaleke, a product of Bigard. Then Bigard has also produced 14 archbishops. 14 archbishops, and then 37 bishops. And incidentally, Bigard is also the only seminary in Nigeria that has produced papal representatives that have been sent to all parts of the world. We have Archbishop Jude Thaddeus Okolo. He was sent to Ireland to represent the Pope, just like some Irish people are sent here to be representatives of the Pope. So he represented the Pope for so many years in Ireland as the nuncio. Then he was sent to, right now he's in Czechoslovakia, in the Czech Republic. I think the Czech Republic, sorry. And then he represented the Pope here. We have also somebody like Fortunatus Nwachukwu. He was also sent to many other places, worked as papal representative. And incidentally, the Pope, right now he's in Vatican working, and the Pope is sending him to represent him in this ceremony that we are having, the centenary celebration. We have also so many other personalities working in Vatican, working in Germany, working in other parts of Europe, America, even, of course, Canada, even Australia, many personalities in the church. So in the area of the hierarchy of the church, the Bigard has produced the different strong personalities that are really making their impact felt all over the world. The names that I've just rolled out, this is just the beginning. And we also remember that we have only a candidate that is being processed for the sainthood, and that is Tansi, Michael Iwene Tansi. This were he was one of the early seminarians that Bigard had. And then we have also Michael Ubuja Eneje. The process for his canonization is ongoing now. And then we have another person that studied in Bigard that is in the Cameroon. Anyways, he didn't end up becoming a priest, Bernard Fallon. He is well known in the Cameroon. He became a very powerful minister in Cameroon, but he lived a very holy life. Today, the Cameroonians are pushing for his canonization. So it's a very important part that even a layman, that he didn't end up becoming a priest, but then he continued living a very holy life, that people, even working, even as a politician, people saw how good a person he was, and are pushing for his canonization. I don't know how many politicians that will be canonized in Nigeria if that happens. So, from the point of view of product of Bigard, they are really representing us every part of the world. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Let me come back to you, Reverend Father Udewagu. I am sure that the Bigard Memorial Seminary, with everything it has passed through, I'm sure it has also had challenges, infrastructure challenges within, especially the Enugu flank. Everybody talks about how Enugu has been challenged about water. I'm sure you have your own history with water scarcity, infrastructural challenge. Just tell us a bit, because I'm sure it wasn't 100 years of feasts. Somebody talked about being accompanying the mother to feast of this and feast of that. It comes to church to discover that they don't share food in the feasts. So, excuse me. I mean, this is it. So it's not. It wasn't 100 years of dancing and singing.
Not at
there
all.
There were some very serious challenges, but coming down from when it settled down in Enugu, and then the whole infrastructural thing, how did Bigard overcome that?
Well, Alex, I'm a child of blessedness because I entered the Bigard Seminary when things have already taken stability. Yes. Prior to that, we had the challenges of water, even accommodation. We were told that before we entered Bigard, years back, people lived in the poultry, where we have as our poultry farm now. But then the landmark about solutions to this began in 1996, when the Agambu River that passed through CIC was dammed for the purpose of making Bigard independent regarding water supply. And ever since then, we haven't had any problem about water supply. Thanks to the present rector, who has continued to renew the facilities there such that students can still have potable water to drink. The problem of water has been solved. You come to electricity, you know the epileptic supply of electricity in Nigeria. Bigard is not out of the place. We still have that challenge, but we have solar system now covering most parts of the compound. At least when there is power outage, students can comfortably go to the class and study without having problems. In the chapel, when we are seated to pray, no disruption, because we have to pray. We are praying for the entire humanity. We are praying for the society. We are praying for you.
Absolutely.
So don't need disruptions. In the chapel, stability of electric supply, and also in the refectory too.
That's true.
No disruptions, because
that is very true.
So that's what we saw. The rector has tried a lot. So now there are those challenges. Every epoch have their own challenges. The challenges our forefathers faced when they were in Bigard is not what we are facing today. We have also the internet facility, which the students are now using. They can stay in their rooms and browse and do their research. When they go to the library, it is the same thing. In those days, we hadn't that. So that is the leap, so to say, regarding developmental strategies to make the students fit in and to face the challenges coming to their own age. Because it's not going to be a hurry for them if they just go to bed and sleep all night. The society is growing.
That is very, very true. Okay, I like the way you put it. By the way, talking about the refectory, I had a taste of it too. I'm not letting the cat out of the bag, but just to put it mildly. Our people will say, yes. So let me come to you, Father Rector. We often talk about the serenity of Bigard Memorial Seminary until I stepped in a few days ago, and I witnessed it firsthand. And for a moment, you people had to wait for me because I was just filming everything that I saw. So, but it is the sheer serenity. I looked at the field and how it was tended. First of all, I have to ask, who are the groundsmen in Bigard? They must be working overnight on those turfs.
Actually, everything that is done in Bigard is done by the seminarians themselves. The seminarians are the ones that tend to, all the facilities that we have in the seminary. Like the field that you talked about, it's the seminarians that take good care of them. And then most of the things that, the cleanliness and every other thing. And when you talk of the...
I think we need to see that field. I'm sure we have it somewhere. Just continue what you're saying. We'll see it in a bit.
So we have the field is very standard by the seminarians. I'll tell you just one story, well, a short story. A representative from Urbanian University, a professor, came for accreditation, visit, and every other thing because we have link with Urban. So the place he was placed, he stayed there. In the night, he said that the door was not really opening and everything. He called me. And within a few minutes, somebody landed there and fixed the door. A few minutes again, he called me and said that something was wrong with the plumbing system. And then, immediately, a few minutes again, somebody landed and fixed the plumbing system. Then he had a problem with electricity. Another person, within a few minutes, landed and fixed it. Then he called me and said, how do you get all these artisans? The carpenter, the electrician, the plumber, everything. I told him those people that came were seminarians. Seminarians are plumbers, seminarians are carpenters, seminarians are electricians. So they are all trained. So that's how we train them to be versatile, to keep the compound clean, and to do a lot of other things. But again, another thing about, to talk about serenity, that the seminarians, they start each day, they start with 1 hour meditation each day. After they will get up by 5 a.m. each day, 5:30 they are in the chapel for a 1 hour meditation. No talking, no noise, nothing, every day. And there is also a time that you don't talk to anybody in the seminary. So they imbibe this culture of silence, this tranquility, this serenity, in order for them to grow. And that's how, when somebody enters the seminary, he will feel the aura of serenity. And it will be captivating. Whenever I travel outside, by the time I enter, I come back, and when I enter the gate, I will say, I will breathe a sigh of relief.
You are back.
I'm back. Because the noise and all this commotion will die away in Bigard. Even though Bigard is situated in the heart of Enugu, but it is a serene, atmosphere. Serenity is everywhere to be felt. So you don't hear all this commotion.
Absolutely.
All this commotion in Bigard.
I can bear witness to that. I witnessed it myself.
Okay.
Even in there's a place called Father's House. I won't mention what it's very, very serene. Father Dewago, I will have to ask you to recap the events that will shape the Centenary celebration proper. You talked about it in the beginning, but some people will have joined us, and we'll have about 4 minutes to go. So you need to talk in everything that will happen in the days that the celebrations will last, so that we'll have just the last memory we'll have of this discussion will be on what will be happening on those days.
Okay, to make it snappy and catchy,
that's right.
We have it from 4 different perspectives.
Sure.
The academics, we have Bible quiz, symposia that will last for 3 days. From the human dimension or social dimension, we have cultural displays on the 16th and 17th. We have also cultural dance, we have music festivals, we have theater, shows, drama, like I said. One was written by one of our students, Diamond, and then the other, Ola, wrote me. The gods are not to blame. We also have the tree planting. We have also football matches on the social side. Priests will play against priests. Priests will play against lay alumni of Bigard. Also, the lay staff of Bigard have their cultural dance they will display. The Bigard Primary School have their march past, they will march. Little kids, they are already practicing and they are very eager to come out on that day. This is a kind of showcasing Bigard to the whole world, because the entire activity we have in Bigard is all about integral formation that will make these young men busy and occupied. But occupation here is not opposed to leisure, because they need leisure moments in order to realize themselves. These leisure moments are not just relaxation. It is not about rest. Leisure here implies the capacity of human beings to choose those things that enable them to be happy in life. That is what leisure implies. Choice of activities that are not oriented towards other ends, but things that are just that way. They are essential in life. When the students are oriented towards this, they are able to come out fortified, balanced. When they are balanced, when you see them outside, you are like, I want to join Bigardians. I want to be a student of Bigard. That's why the doors of Bigard are open at this moment for people to come and see these young men, they say, clad in white soutans. They are human because they are chosen from families. And the family is the first window of a child to the outside world. And that is the reason Bigard is a mother. And we refer to her as Mother Bigard. And when we come to Bigard, we say, this is Bigard. Feel at home.
Yes. I felt it. And I'll be back.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much, Reverend Father Kevin. Reverend Father Dr. Kevin Udowagu, the Chairman Planning Committee of the Centenary celebrations at Bigard, is also the Vice Rector 1. Thank you so much for your perspectives on the program tonight. And very Reverend Father Dr. Albert Ikbenwa, the Rector of Bigard Memorial Seminary. Thank you so much for making out time of your busy schedule to be here to talk to the world about Bigard. And thank you for the story.